I hope that the people of this country could wake up and realize that the time for change is not tomorrow, it's not next week, it's not next year, it's not in 5 years. The time for change is now. We need to ensure that we have a proper working constitution, because I believe I would have shown you that there are loopholes in our system. There are one law for you and one law for me. And I think that it's time for a change, and change starts with us. It starts from within. We need to stand up. We need to gear up. We need to put on our armor, and we need to fight like there is no tomorrow. Because if we wait, Trinidad and Tobago, I guarantee you that the creeping democracy, the creeping police state will be here by tomorrow. All right, pleasant good afternoon to the panelists, various of persons on all social media platforms. Today, I think it was right that I came to speak about equal rights and justice and freedom for all in Trinidad and Tobago, and what that actually means to me, and what I, as a youth from Laventille East Movement, want to see the country in the near future. I see a Trinidad and Tobago where we can be free to walk the streets without fear. I see a Trinidad and Tobago where equality truly matters, where one is not discriminated against based off their social class, their ethnicity, and or their gender. I see a Trinidad and Tobago where one is not discriminated against because of their political stance and or their affiliations. I see a Trinidad and Tobago where one is not discriminated against because of their skin color. I see a Trinidad and Tobago where one is allowed to express themselves and is not shamed for it and or called mad. This is what I see from my Trinidad and Tobago that sits in the South America, 11 miles off the nautical coast of Venezuela. I think it's safe to say that everyone in this room and in Trinidad and Tobago wants to see a better country. I think we all have a different stance on how that country should look like, or the way in which we should get that new Trinidad and Tobago. Well, today I say the part for that new Trinidad and Tobago is definitely hard. It's not easy. We have a lot of challenges along the way. If you require a better country, there are things that you must acknowledge. There are things that you must be willing to change. The first step to change is acknowledgement. However, when you acknowledge the problem, you must be willing to change the problem, be willing to stand up against it, or else it would all go in vain. Over the past week, we saw where I was brutally assaulted by the men and women of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, those that are supposed to protect and serve us with pride. I have taken notes of some comments made by persons on social media, by persons who have claimed to know me, even my own peers. And I must say that this is not the Trinidad and Tobago that my mother once told me about. This is not the paradise that I once grew up in. This is not the paradise that our ancestors were planning for us. This is not the Trinbago that I thought I would be living in today. On June 27, 2020, Trinidad and Tobago, we saw where this country was on the verge of collapse, of becoming a police state. Today, there's a pattern generating among us, and we must be willing to accept it. We must be willing to urgently address it, and we must be able to rise up against it, because this is a police state. 3 men were shot and killed at the hands of police officers in Movant, and it seems like we have forgotten their names. Well, I urge to remind you of their names: Joel Jacobs, Israel Clinton, and Noel Diamond. I know that saying these names or bringing up these claims may have a hating feeling in some people's mind, or they may not want to talk about this, but these are things that we must speak about. It's things that we must be able to identify as problems in our society. Later that same month, when the whole country was in uproar because of these killings, we saw where Onella Graves from Beetham Gardens was also shot and killed, probably allegedly, at the hands of police officers in Trinidad and Tobago, generating the pattern of a police state. We have heard many stories of extrajudicial killings among our beautiful island, but never once have we heard a commissioner of police endorse said police killing and also enforced said police killing by saying, one shot, one kill. Most recently, and this is what I believe, black people are being targeted by police officers in this country. Even by the government of Trinidad and Tobago, I think that black people are being targeted. From a simple walk in front of the parliament to the reopening of a black business on Ariapita Avenue, I believe that black people are a target by the government and also the police officers in this country. This was proven when Philip Edward Alexander held a one-man protest outside of the parliament, and he was not tackled by police officers the way I was 24 hours prior. Maybe it's because he belonged to a Syrian community, the 1%. Or maybe it's because he knew the commissioner of police. Or maybe it's because he is not a little black boy from Mova Laventil. Our country today is facing many problems. It's in a trying time. From the emerge of the COVID-19 pandemic to the creeping dictatorship and this creeping of a police state, we the people are under pressure and are deeply searching for a way out. Some say that there is no way out. Indirect discrimination is plaguing our nations, and I'll make an example of it. Our lawmakers have drafted regulations for the 99% and also for the 1%, and we see that where the 1%, they don't need to follow the regulations. Just yesterday, Stephanie shared a video where people were playing or were golfing there in Trin City. I don't think that we can go to the beach. I don't think that we can go to the cinema. I don't think that we can play, because apparently we're all in this together. And I'll bring another example of the indirect discrimination plaguing our nation. Here's an example of it: the wearing of a face mask. Our Prime Minister is seen consistently not wearing his face mask at a press conference, which I believe is a public place. But he's not charged for it. He's not given the $1,000 fine. He's not tackled to the ground because the law works differently for him. But the poor man on the ground, the one that works 24 hours to make a living, to put bread on the table, he's charged $1,000 for not wearing a face mask in public. That is open discrimination, indirect discrimination, where the law works for some and not for all. We see where the Minister of Finance, Colin Imbert, was wearing a face mask, was not wearing a face mask right in front of the parliament where I was standing, and he was not tackled for it. He was not chastised for it. And that shows that there's an open discrimination in Trinidad and Tobago, and these are things that we must address. This is the biasness, the open discrimination in our country. We as citizens must stop making excuses for our leaders and stand up and make a change. Stand up for your democracy. Take a stance for your rights and a stance for your constitutional rights to ensure that every citizen within this country, Trinidad and Tobago, is treated fairly. Equal treatment for one and equal treatment for one and all, no matter your class, your background, and your ethnicity. This is what I stand for. There are things we must address. Our future leaders must address, us as future leaders must address, and us as parliamentarians must address as well. We must first make a change, Trinidad and Tobago. Stand up and make a change. You have activists that come together today to create this Break Free movement. And I'm here today to join the Break Free movement because I as well want to break free of the PNM government and of oppression in Trinidad and Tobago. There are many more things I can say. I am of the belief that we as a country know what the problems are, and I believe that we pussyfoot around the problems here in Trinidad and Tobago. I believe that it is time to make a change. It is time to stand up. In the PNM constituencies, for the non-voters, for those that vote, it is time to stand up and really break free. So I urge you to look on social media, look on your television maybe, because we may go to television, and you would see what we have planned for the future of Trinidad and Tobago. You have heard from many speakers tonight. There are more to come, and I believe that they will touch on the crucial issues facing us in Trinidad and Tobago. This is all I have to say for tonight as I rushed on my speech after coming out of prison. But I want to thank God, Christopher, Vicky Rampasad, and every other activist here today. Ravi Fiagra, nice to be in the same room with you, actually. Thank you to all the activists out here tonight. I hope that the people of this country could wake up and realize that the time for change is not tomorrow. It's not next week. It's not next year. It's not in 5 years. The time for change is now. We need to ensure that we have a proper working constitution, because I believe I would have shown you that there are loopholes in our system. There are one law for you and one law for me. And I think that it's time for a change, and change starts with us. It starts from within. We need to stand up. We need to gear up. We need to put on our armor, and we need to fight like there is no tomorrow. Because if we wait, Trinidad and Tobago, I guarantee you that the creeping democracy, the creeping police state will be here by tomorrow. Thank you.